Okay. One of the most important things, if not the most important thing to get right, is serving your customers. And the successful entrepreneurs have to really own this to the very end. And you have to envision yourself as being on the planet to serve your customers. So important. If you serve your customers and they know that you're serving them, then they take care of a lot of other things for you, like selling for you, for example. But let's get to the service piece. How to do it. A couple things. It's really not that complicated. It just takes discipline. First thing is you have to listen. You have to always be listening to what your customers say. So important. So when you're talking to customers, whether it be in a prospective selling situation or post sale, when they've already bought something, product or service from you, maybe they even have a complaint. So important to listen to what they're saying. So let's take an example of a complaint. If a customer has a complaint, man, it's not a good thing, but guess what? Every product service, we all have issues. It's going to come up in your business. So look at it as the perfect opportunity to learn how to get better in your company, but also how to take a customer with an issue and make them a raving fan. And it's the perfect opportunity when they come in with an issue to be listened to. It's so important for customers to know that you're listening to them. So you got to listen to them. That takes discipline. Don't just talk. You got to listen. And another recommendation I would make to you is you got to repeat back the issue so they can hear you understand and know it. So many times, I mean, think of yourself as a customer. So many times when we have problems, we want to give feedback, but we're worried no one's going to listen. You fill out a suggestion card, put it in a suggestion box. Does anybody even read it? Right? Many times it does, and they don't. So that's what you got to make sure as a successful entrepreneur. You listen to your customers, you repeat it back to them so you confirm that you heard it and you heard it correctly. Because a lot of times we misunderstand what the actual problem is. And a lot of times there's communication issues, and that can just be worked out by listening and repeating back. And then finally, anytime there's an issue, anytime there's any kind of service related problem that one of your customers has, you must drop everything and solve it right away. Very responsive, in person, by phone, live, not just mailing something to someone and doing it over a long period of time. Quickly and responsively, that is key to good customer service. One of the things that becomes more difficult is if your company requires adding more than just you in your company, it is essential that you get that same level of customer service branded in your people's minds, the same way that you have it. That is an important culture item to build within your company. So when you have more people in your company, you're hiring more people, one of the most important things to set as a foundation of your culture in your company is that service to customers. Getting it yourself is important. Getting it then dispersed as a leader to your other people, your employees, is hard, and it requires, again, discipline and constantly beating the drum about that within your organization. It needs to be constantly reinforced with your team. Otherwise, it can be pushed to the back burner. It's easy for that to kind of be pushed behind more pressing fires and burning issues. But there's nothing more important than servicing the customer. And you as the leader need to be the one to make sure that that torch is carried forward. And the listening and all those key things and responsiveness has to be also understood by your employees and actually executed upon all the time. So important to make a successful business. Now, one thing you shouldn't do is ignore anything that a customer says. Bad move. Now, the customer may have bad information that they're making a conclusion on. Their perception is always correct. Their actual data that they're making their decision on may be off. So all the more reason to openly communicate with your customers whenever possible. Ignoring them, becoming adversaries with your customers, arguing with them, that's not going to go anywhere. It's communication, it's listening, and it's working out any sort of issues, and you always got to defer to your customer. They're the ones that are paying you for a product or service, and they don't owe you anything, right? You owe them service, so you have to defer to them. But a lot of times there's just miscommunication. So ignoring them or arguing with them is not going to go anywhere. I would avoid that wherever possible. So customer service is probably the most important part of the business, because when you stop serving customers, frankly, why are you even in business? You're there. Your purpose as an entrepreneur is to serve your customers. And you've got to get that in your mind as the driver of the business. That's the right driver. If you're serving customers well, your business is going to grow. Your customers many times will be your best salespeople. They'll be your best advocates for your product or service. Just take care of them. So it's so essential to really make sure that you are serving those customers, you dropping everything to make sure that they're happy.